So the full update details are here for the global servers. Update 3.9 with maintenance beginning at the usual times and lasting about 4 hours. This will bring that new Rift event with new rewards we can obtain. There are then a ton of weapon balance changes here, including the switch up with the orb, which actually turns out not to be a nerf as I expected it to be. They're simply making it better for healers to be able to give Distortion Veil to everybody without ruining the other orb DPS's damage. There's some equipment changes, Brute Slayer bonus damage nerf, and Tevent orb buff, although the value doesn't seem quite right. General changes, including finally the fix to the Ascended Queen Blandier and Tevent, which should give 8 materials instead of 4. So let's get into the details and everything you need to know. I will jump first to this orb change, because what I said in my video was only one part of the story, when in actual fact what they've done is simply made a new version of Summon Satellite, which is the Summon Guardian Satellite, which is, as I showed you, does not give you any extra damage with your Stellar Dash. And this is by design because this is for healers. You still have the first cast here, and if you use the first cast and use Stellar Dash, you don't get the extra hits. And that's intended because you're using this Guardian Satellite. If you cast it twice, you end up with that area effect where you will apply those satellites to everybody. And just be aware, these satellites are different. They now state they follow the caster's Distortion Veil skill. We can then go and remove this specialization and use our regular Summon Satellite. And we can see this actually does have the satellite copy effect, still with the basic attack damage and the Stellar Dash damage. So what they've done, as you can see they clearly state in the global patch notes, is make Summon Satellite gain the benefits of satellite copy by default. And that is what we can see here. Like the first cast, you do get those extra hits on Stellar Dash, and the second cast will simply be that copy effect as we have normally, allowing you to put those satellites on your entire team. We can cast this here again, and you can see that area effect. And this is on the base form of Summon Satellite. So what this change means is damage dealers actually got a little bit of a buff, because they no longer need to spend 10 specialization points. They can put them elsewhere. On Oracle DPS, for example, I can use those specializations to get some cooldown. Maybe I need some mana, or extra duration on my orbs, or extra duration on Corrupted Magic Circle, or some extra damage there. And on top of that, if you're an orb healer, you'll be delighted to note that your Guardian Satellites will stack with the normal damage satellites. As you can see, they're different tooltips, and if we take advantage of Blitz here, remove the specialization, use that Blitz, cast it again, we can end up with 2 of the different satellites. So this simply allows healers to not interrupt the damage of the damage dealers who want the satellites to deal damage, whereas the healer satellites will just be for Distortion Veil. So I hope that clears it up. Orb DPS hasn't not actually been nerfed, other than these stun durations getting reduced for PvP, which means it'll be good now to have an orb healer and an orb DPS in the team. The last thing that I am still unsure about is if they've done any change to those satellites where everybody can benefit from them, or only the person who casts the copy, meaning you still only want one orb DPS in the group. That is something we will have to test. I can't do on the Korean server unless I have another person here who can do it with me. These bots don't seem to want to help me. It was rather crazy yesterday. But back to the update details, just to clarify with this new event, we did not yet get an event blog, but the Korean server did, and it should allow us to get a bunch of rewards by killing enemies when you enter these portals. For example, Noble Chaos Runes. Additionally, you get these fragments, which you can see you can exchange at this shop for, yes, some usual event rewards. Nothing too special here, other than perhaps the furniture. We do, however, have again the second iteration of the Conquest of Guilds. The first one was at launch in Global, October 2024. This allows guilds to contest each other, climb some ranks, and take away some exclusive rewards. You'll have a bunch of guild challenges, like in Battlegrounds here, getting points. There's even housing for points, conquest battles, boonstones and riftstone, and dimensional trials. There's achievement completions, dynamic events, Gate of Infinity, guild ranking, and yeah, so pretty much doing everything in the game possible. So whoever's guild is the most active is most likely going to win. But moving on, you can see all these changes. So Crossbow's quickfire got nerfed for PvP, but buffed for PvE, with the nimble leap distance nerfed. Dagger, a whole bunch of PvE damage buffs here, but Shadow Strike range nerfed, and Camouflage Cloak duration nerfed. For Greatsword, dash distance nerfed, and stun duration nerfs. For Spear, gap closure distance nerfs, and stun duration nerf. For Sword and Shield, another gap closure distance nerf, chain hook distance nerfs, and a quick bug fix to the cooldown of Piercing Strike, which was being immediately reset when combined with Counter Barrier, and the Agile Strike crossbow weapon mastery. I have seen some of you reporting that to me, so you may be happy to note the devs have at least acknowledged it and are trying to fix it. For Longbow, some massive PvE damage buffs, but some bind duration decreases, although an increase to the oppressive duration increase, so that's for PvE bosses. For Staff, some CC decreases, same for Wand and its sleep, and then the orb effect as we mentioned earlier. As for equipment, Brute Slayer set is getting a nerf down to 4 stacks instead of 5. That just means less bonus damage. For Tevin's orb, they state here the buff is 200%. This is probably a typo because on the Korean server we can confirm here it's actually 300%. And that was as they said in their patch notes. As for general changes here, there's an all tab for furniture crafting. For guilds, you can now separately manage the Archboss drops. There's now a proper icon next to a stat point when you're above 99, so you know you're wasting points. They added more floating islands for Gigantrite. This is when you're going for that furniture. You need to get the drops from the islands. They made a fix in Battlegrounds to the resurrect button being disabled after dying sometimes. And they made a fix preventing you from purchasing the rewards for combat coins when your ranking points were greater than 1,000. They disabled party invitation links when you're in a vanguard. And they fixed an issue causing Phantom Smokescreen 30% cooldown reduction to not be granted by the Della's Noah daggers. And yeah, Archbosses, Queen Belandir and Tevin should properly give 8 Archboss materials instead of just 4. And that's ultimately it for these update changes. Of course, there's going to be a bunch of controversy with the weapon balancing, particularly for PvP there, but we'll have to see how the game feels when the new update is out. In terms of PvE balance, they seem to be doing a decent job, slowly but surely. Dagger getting some pretty big damage buffs there, which helps a lot of those melee classes which usually do pair with Dagger. Longbow as well. Significant PvE buffs. I just hope we can get the DPS board sooner than late. That will help a ton to realize what actually needs work. Probably would help the devs a lot because then people can give proper feedback and not just based on dummy tests or isolated experiences. So once again, thanks for watching. A special thank you to all these channel members and we'll see you guys around.